All right, hello and welcome to Slammers Weekly. This is the season recap episode. My name is Cole Clark, hosting here from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm on the horn with Bo and Ben up in New Jersey. Fellas, what's happening?
What's up, buddy? It's been a long time.
I don't know. Yeah, dude.
I didn't think you were ever going to come back. I thought you were done.
I know. It seemed like Tony Regina was convinced I wasn't coming back either. He's like, yeah, if Cole, whoever gets out of the woods or whatever. And what? I guess you can't really blame him. I mean,
the guy really is he's more of a myth than a man at this point, right? I mean, no one really would have thought he would have extracted himself from the Vermont woods to come back with us jabronis to record a podcast again. But good to have you back.
Good to be back.
But no one knew if that van was going to make it back home. I can't believe that van made it from Vermont to Arizona. I saw the shape of that thing when you popped by a couple months ago. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I actually didn't drive it back. The van's still in New Jersey. I flew back.
Okay. I didn't realize that. Okay. That adds up.
Yeah, that's why it worked out so smoothly. But yeah, the van is still alive as far as I know. Anyway, we got a pretty sweet year-end recap here, the awards show episode. We have a lot of great awards to give out here. But before we do, anything to get into before awards? Any prefacing you want to do of the season as a whole?
I don't really have anything to preface. I mean, I think overall it was, I don't think there was that many like huge storylines, right? Like we'll get into it a little bit here with some of our categories like biggest choke and stuff like that. But for this section, I feel like there was a lot of steady, solid play under pressure. Usually, I mean, biggest choke category could have 10 candidates.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. 4
or 5 in a tournament and like a mid-am or something, right? And
yeah, really a healthy honorable mention crowd there for that award.
But yeah, this year we didn't really, we almost had it's like reaching a little bit, it feels like, for some of these
candidates.
candidates.
Little first takey, little crisis acting, little in getting the juice going. I would say also just a standard year as far as venues go.
Yes.
Not a lot of, aside from a few of the Met ones, not too many outrageously great setups events this year. Hopefully better ones next year.
Down year in the rotation.
Yeah, for sure.
And that happens. You only have so many great courses in the area.
Right.
And yeah, you're going to have those down years. I think next year's going to be a little bit better from what we've seen, but still just can't seem to snag up Pine Valley or any of these big guys. Pine Valley usually gives you the one every 15-year open. They did that for at least
2012 open.
And then I think they had it back around 2000 too, like in 2000.
Okay, well, it's about that time.
That's what I mean. We'll see. We'll see if they pop up in the next couple of years. But yeah, no, cool. We can get started.
All right, let's do it. So let's kick it off on a low note, and maybe we'll get to some high notes. But in the way we play golf, there's more low notes than highs. So what would you say was the biggest dump of a golf course that was on display this year?
This category for me is tough. We didn't meet on this to say like what is the exact criteria.
No,
because is it a course that is a dump and embraces being a dump? Or is it a course like Torresdale that puts a big elephant out front?
Right.
And it's Donald All statue and the clubhouse is nice and they got a nice range, but the course is a dump.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, I'm honestly surprised we made it 8 minutes into the pod with you drive-by shooting the Torresdale.
I thought that you were exaggerating when you talked about it before. And I hadn't been out there in a while and I played there a couple weeks ago. And man, that place, I mean, it's just ratty. Like it's literally, I mean, the bunkers are dirty and dumpy. They have no defined edges. The greens were slow and bumpy. I mean, it's like,
has it always been that way, or is it just in bad shape this year?
I don't know. I haven't been out there since I was a kid, before I really even had any kind of golf course palette built up. So I always liked it, but or at least thought it was a reasonable course. But I really was down on it after playing it this time.
You would think it would really take an upswing with the Union League buying it and obviously putting a bunch of money into the place. We talked on previous podcasts about them putting the short course in. They're doing the full renovation. You talked to Andrew Green about it. But yeah, we can't say it enough. It's a horrific golf course. The greens, some of the new proposed changes to it. It's all just so bad. And I really thought they were gonna do it up and fix it. But man, I don't have enough thumbs to put them down for that one.
Well, they hired Stephen K. Well, they hired Stephen K. Right, and Stephen K. is like, he might even be out of business now. Like, I mean, no, really, like, he's not getting any work, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's just like kind of a has-been. And I mean, you're talking about a guy whose magnum opus is the Architects Club up in North Jersey. Of course, essentially,
Oh my God.
essentially is a
That place?
Well, it's essentially a knockoff of other architects' work, right? And this is this guy's greatest piece of work. So it kind of shows you what the guy you're dealing with. So it doesn't surprise me that he just completely botched that.
And that place is basically a glorified landfill in and of itself too. I played that in high school in some tournaments. I can't stand it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the best thing you can say about it is like it's a fun, just kind of blow it around kind of course.
Right.
But yeah, I if that's the way we're going with it, I would almost, is it like the expectations versus reality, or is it like what is the biggest just absolute piece of shit course you played this year?
I would say, what is the course that presents itself as a legitimately good course that is the least good?
Then I'm going with Union League.
You're going with Union
I'm going
League?
with, if we were just going just biggest dump, like.
Right. I mean, it is, you make a great point about like what's the spirit of the award, right? Is it the actual worst golf course, or is it kind of where expectations don't really meet reality? And I think, man, we got the pleasure of playing Talmore in that gap match. Oh boy. Some of the guys over there, some of the narratives that I heard from the conditioning of the course, the design. Oh, we just did the side face bunkers. The 18th hole is one of the biggest closers in the gap, right? That stupid par 5 next to the range.
It's one of the worst, and it's one of the worst holes in the section. I really don't think that's an exaggeration. And you got guys talking about how this is a good hole.
Right. Oh my God. And I mean, not even as far as I would say Talonmore would be my choice, especially given the gap match experience there. I would say honorable mentions for me, Bluebell. It held one of those, was that an open qualifier?
Yeah.
Up there? Dump. And then Mercer Oaks. I think it would be remiss in saying, leaving out Mercer Oaks, we played there in a gap match too. That place is not worth the sod that's over there.
It feels like a low blow beating those guys up, though. I mean, because it's a muni that gets like 100,000 rounds a year. Right?
It's a dump.
No, it's a dump.
It just depends on the spirit of the award, right? That is the dump.
Yeah. All right, I think we covered the bases here. I like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the Strangler Award, biggest choke of the year.
Reggie Miller
competitive
special,
award,
if you will. I can certainly start here. Choke of the year, I think, again, the spirit of the award is the lights have to be bright, and you didn't really come up with the goods, right? This is not you went out in 45 at the Mid-Am qualifier at Coatesville. Right. This is kind of the lights have to be a little bit brighter than that. So I would say and certainly you can add commentary here, Bo. My nominees, something that comes top of mind is the Patterson Cup. We had Matt Matare up there trying to win Patterson Cup, as well as Marion's Nelson Hargrove up there. And I guess where do you think we should go with this award?
Yeah, those were the two candidates I had as well. And because the Mid-Am was solid. The Am, there was nothing noteworthy. And the Open was just frenzy. Right?
Yeah,
so,
total sweepstakes.
I I gotta go Nelson. I mean, I really have a hard time pinning the guy who hits, 140 really good shots or puts himself in position to, to 1 3-footer, right? And then he fucks up that one putt and then calling him a choker. Because to get to that point, I mean, he hit so many clutch shots.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah. And it's hard to really say he choked. He could have just been, he missed the putt, right? It is what we've all missed 3-footers. It happens, right? But the Hargrove thing, when you're playing flawless golf and all of a sudden you start just churning out doubles on holes that aren't even hard, right? Or at least you would say aren't double holes, then you can definitely pin that as the guy started to get a little shaky.
And Bo, I have the card out here just to go back to the scene of the crime, if you will. Nelson he stretched it. He eagled the 9-hole second round. He got it to 6 under par. He stretched it to 6 under par at that point. Keep in mind, Logan Paczewski won the tournament at 4 under par. So he is 6 under. He's vibing his face off. Just made the turn in 33. Pars 10, 11, 12. And then the fireworks start. So he bogeys 13, bogeys 14 at this point. Yeah. Cue the Reggie Miller gif. The trachea is tightening up. And then 17 and 18, just Michael Bublé would have been proud of performance. Double, 17 and 18 to shoot that 41 on the back there and finish 4 shots out of that 3-man playoff. So yeah, I think the Matt Matari putt, I think it's made a little bit worse because we did see that footage on Instagram Live. That was a tough watch. As a survivor of the yips, that was tough to watch, even more tough to watch too. It's tough to say that's a complete choke, but as far as, I mean, Nelson vacated the premises on the back 9 there.
Yeah, I think you can have one moment that's a choke, right? Like a single putt, or you can have like a full-on drama that's like that, carries out over multiple holes. And I think that kind of takes the choke of the year. Right. All right, moving on. Who is the worst playing partner in Gap or Jersey this year?
That's a great question, Cole. And I kind of threw this in as joking, but I'd have to nominate myself for this award. I mean, I've been nothing but an absolute boat anchor to any of the partners I've had a pleasure with playing with this year, whether it's in some goofy net event, the U.S. floorball at Indian Valley where I just totally no-showed. Whatever it was me. I was taking my partner and just being a big sack of lead, dragging him to the bottom of the ocean and keeping him there. So I would have to say it's me for that award, just in the spirit of accountability and really just giving the folks, the listeners, the truth out there and sort of what happened, right? Whenever you see someone playing with me, you know it's probably my fault.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the card. You don't have to go to the card breakdown and to see the full story. You kind of know, like, Ben didn't get off the bus.
No, yeah, you can. I was always good for. You can see that very specs on the card, right? Maybe 2 holes in the 9 where I kind of in the better ball or whatever, and in the alternate shot, just missing shots left and right. I couldn't apologize enough this year to the partners I had.
One could even say that it started on the back 9 of last year's floorball when you paired with me at North Jersey when you vacated on the back there.
Oh yeah, of course. I was great to be the bogey, to make the bogey and when you ever made the double, but I was never making par birdie.
You played well on the front. I think you shot even or what, like so I will give you that. But
yeah,
a golf 9 quickly turned into a hike on that back 9.
Absolutely.
You had your backpack on. You were pointing out birds. You were watching me play.
He was doing anything but the golf, right? Yeah. It's okay. It's self-reflection. It's why we're going to go back and do it again next year, and hopefully the results are a little bit better.
Hopefully you can find a partner who's better than like a 5 handicap at this point.
Yeah, I know.
Not only do the local folks know, like, Ben's kind of a no-go right now. Now we're airing it out to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's fine.
It could be. You might have to go out of section and reel somebody in.
Yeah, exactly. You might have to put an ad in the newspaper. Whatever.
I'm sure Tony can give you a good deal on that Gap magazine.
Sure. Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Did you play high school golf?
I did.
Did you ever break 40 at a high school match?
Cole's going for the ad.
Largest class act.
Did you ever break 40? Let's partner up. I'm excited for this one because we're going to air something that we haven't aired before.
Yes.
And it needs to be. I'm glad you remember because it really needs to be out there. Because
This is like a very edgy, peek behind the curtain story that I don't think a lot of people are privy to.
I hope that somebody from the course, I hope it gets around because this guy deserves to have the curtain pulled off of this.
Largest class act. Okay.
Is this the guy that you drilled with a ball?
Oh, no. That was last year. Yeah. No, that was last year at Spring Haven.
Wasn't that guy like surprisingly nice for having been hit?
The guy was
with
tough
a
as
ball?
nails. I mean, I just screamed one into his hip with from point blank, and the guy didn't even drop. So I was like, did I hit him? And I pull up and there's a whole group of people and they're like, oh yeah, you drilled this guy, man, right here. And no, he stood tall. He's a tough guy. But anyway, largest class act. Well, you were saying, go ahead. You start with the caddy fight.
Yeah, I think, and this award is really in the spirit of, as a golfer, we're all class acts, right? We all play by the rules. We all tuck our shirts in. We all, though, curse on the golf course. So this is for all the class acts out there. I would say this first one definitely falls in the honorable mention category, and then we'll get to the real award. And we rehashed this again on our Gap M podcast. But the guy that hit into the Group 1-4 at Huntington Valley in the second round of the stroke play qualifier, and in which a caddy fight ensued, all of those, everyone involved, class acts in their own right? I really can't believe that a guy would whack a drive off a floor at Huntington Valley, a very, very drivable hole, not yell four, almost kill the guy, and then two caddies almost went at it. I mean, come on, guys, let's clean it up. Let's show a little bit more etiquette.
Let's do better.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah,
still not good enough to take home the award though.
No, and still not good enough to make it into that damn Gap notebook either.
Yeah, Tony's got to start thinking a little deeper. I mean, I know he likes to feel good stories about the guy who just had 4 kids and is finally starting to play, and he shot one over or something. But we got to get a little bit more. We got to expose these bad guys too.
Absolutely. So yeah, the caddy fight, some class acts, but let's go to the real award here.
So I'm not going to mention any names, right? Because I don't even know the guy's name. So, and I'm not going to mention my buddy's name who told me this, but I mean, it's on the scorecard, right? So you got to look it up. Old York Road, right? Invitational. They have a big skins game. Buddy's playing with a guy. He accidentally writes down a 2 for this guy on the 10th hole. The guy made a birdie. I forget how he made it, if he chipped it in or something, whatever. He made a birdie. And my buddy accidentally wrote down a 2. Didn't realize it till he got home. The next day they sent out the results or whatever. Sees the 2 on the card and sees the guy got a skin for the 2. And this is a tournament where there's not many skins, right? So it's paying good money, right? And the guy's from Old York, which makes it even crazier.
Oh my God, a member.
He's an Old York member. So how do you sit there, 1, cash the skin, 2, people are asking you, what did you do? What did you hole out with on?
It's the 10th hole. It's not an easy hole. It's not a drivable hole. It's
not like a par 5 where there's multiple ways to make an eagle. Right. It's you could just say yeah, whatever. No, you had a hole out. What did you hole out with? The whole story is just it has to be so deeply fabricated. And it takes a real sick guy to do this, especially at his home club.
Sure.
Yeah.
So he won the skin, he pocketed the money, and that's the last you heard of it?
That's the last, and who knows, maybe that's what the results showed. Maybe he even went and back and he felt bad and gave, I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't say this is a factual, this is exactly how it ended, but this is what I was told happened. the day after. Like I had a buddy texting me like, dude, you won't believe what happened. Like,
it's still outrageous. It got to the fact that he won the skin was it too.
Right.
That's outrageous in and of itself, right? Regardless of what happened next with the money.
Is there like a redemption here? This sounds like the opposite of a class act.
We're going opposite. It's a sarcastic award.
Yeah, Cole, this is all ironic.
The guy's on that Arizona grass out there. It's just going right over his head. He said sounds the opposite.
Because it is, Cole.
He said, is there a redemption story? That's true.
Okay. Sorry, that was lost on me. All right, moving right along. The next award of the year, longest drive that you heard of.
Longest drive. Yeah, this one, again, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but definitely want to discuss some of the actual long golf drives we saw this year. In the stroke play qualifying of the Gap Am, Huntington Valley #1, I did hear a report that Osberg knocked it on. And it was into the wind
too, I think.
Yeah, that's outrageous. It was into the wind too, because 1, 2, 3, and 4 were into the wind that day. That is such a bomb, man.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're picking up over 2 shots on the field is just absurd, right? On a given hole.
It's not even close. Like the guys that we were playing with on our group smoked drives that were like 50 yards short.
Yeah.
It's like how are you going to squeeze 50 more out of this thing, right? So that was outrageous. I'll certainly put that in the honorable mention category. Second honorable mention, I would say any Lou Kelly drive ever, even dating back to last year, the gap wedges that he had into those shitty ridge at Backbrook par 5s. Just totally took an axe to all those par 5s, and I'm sure he hit some bombs out there when I saw him at the U.S. Open qualifier at Medford Village. Probably some total tape measure shots too. Yeah, him and I both work with Dave Tarashi, and I was talking to Dave, asking him about Louis' swing speed, and he said that he's toned it down and he just kind of hovers it around like playing speed around 122, 123. But he said like if he goes after one, it's 130. Oh, okay. It's nice to have that cruise control 123 in the bag. Well, the 123 is at Medford Village, and then the 130 comes out the ridge on the 18th hole. Right. I mean, you literally hit it wherever, right? And I know I'm going to have the buck 40 gap wedge in. Yeah, right? Exactly. But yeah, it's pretty incredible stuff. Yeah, but I would say those are 2 honorable mentions. I would say the longest drive is probably going to the actual drive between Huntington Valley and Lookaway Golf Club between the Gap Am qualifying, stroke play qualifying this year. That was a hike, dude. What was it, close to a half hour? Yeah, it was a half hour. I unfortunately wasn't there. But. Right. I mean, I was in the bid, right? Yeah. I wasn't a player in the event, but it was like 30 minutes, and obviously we had that tight turnaround. And as we rehashed on the Gap Am podcast, one of the caddies in my group did get nailed with this speeding ticket, 40 into 25. So, I mean, come on, next year, we need closer distances between courses. And a really bad drive for the drinkers too. I mean, you're putting the public at risk sending those guys out there for a half hour, and they can bump their way down from Riverton to Laurel Creek or something, but down Hainsport, Mount Laurel. But you start sending them on major highways and stuff, it can get crazy. Yeah, there's no playing bumper cars up from Buckingham, PA down to Huntington Valley. Yeah, you gotta drive your car. Yeah, you definitely gotta go your way around. You gotta be in touch with your faculties. So that's who I would give the longest drive to. Do you have any qualms with that? I don't have any good long drive stories this year. I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older and I'm not playing with these young guys anymore. I'm not relevant enough to play with anybody who's really wowing me with long drives. But nothing came to mind with this. Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving along then is largest handicapping blunder. Is that like person whose handicap is the furthest away from their ability, whether it's way better than they say they are or way worse?
That would be a whole different discussion. So this is actually we would put out some line. This is handicapping as far as golf lines go, from our sports book perspective. We did a little odd segment on the Gap Open, and I put out a really bad promotion.
Yeah, it was your opening. It was your Gap Open promo, right? FanDuel, big marketing activation for you. But
Yeah, it was will Mike win the Philly Open, and I think I only had it like plus 150 or something.
Something.
It was even minus. I think it was like minus 110. It was really bad.
I think you were laying the chalk there. I think it was like minus whatever it was. We'll check the tape, but it was a horrific line.
Well, I got saved because the ticket got canceled because Mike Brown was out due to injury. So all the mics had to start.
Right. All mics must start for action. Right?
So we did get saved, and it kind of that was really bad. But the Mike's line for the NFL has been pretty good so far.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Will Mike win head coach of the year? I think it's going to happen.
McDaniel, McCarthy,
Tomlin.
Okay.
Tomlin's got some odds on right now.
I don't know. I would vote for him if he fired that idiot Matt Canada. But
yeah. I mean, the fact that he's already squeezed 4 wins out of that team already.
2, 3,
maybe 3 and 2 with a bye.
Something.
Yeah,
something way more than they should, obviously.
And then obviously Miami Mike. So
yeah.
So the NFL one isn't quite as bad, but yeah, that's it, Cole. That's the worst line of the year. As a sportsbook manager, you get one of those in your career, right? And then the second one, you might as well just start sending the resume out. So
Second one, you're fired.
Yep.
What was the worst hole of the year that you played or heard about in a tournament?
That's a really good question. There's so many great deserving candidates for the worst hole.
18 at Talmor, we already talked about.
18 at Talmor, man. It's just,
you would never argue with that if someone threw it out there.
Just completely blow it up. Oh man, there's so many good ones. Even, I mean, we've totally beaten the dead horse, but 18 at Horsdale, horrific.
That's not even the worst hole out there, which is crazy.
No, I know.
As bad as it is.
That's the first one that came to mind is the home hole. 16 in Huntington Valley.
Yeah. We'll save that for we have another category.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of others that I've played this year. Do you have anything that comes to the top?
I mean, I think you could almost throw half the holes at Talmor out there.
Yeah.
I just played Commonwealth. I mean, that has a whole that has 5 or 6. Have you played there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad. I mean,
thick back there.
So 5, I have a whole list on there. 5 is bad. 6 is bad. 15 I think is the worst hole in the course. That dog leg, right? Where like people are just getting peppered with balls in that 16th green. So you played there before, right, Cole? That's where you got slaughtered by what's his name, Stravinsky, right?
Woof.
Yeah, that's right. We've actually mentioned that a surprising amount of times on this podcast, but it was a beatdown for the ages. But yeah, I have played it, and yeah, that place is not at all fun if you don't hit the ball dead straight.
Do you remember the course well at all, like hole by hole, or no?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's pretty unmemorable.
I'm going to go off the beaten path here a little bit. I have my worst hole. 15, Indian Valley. Dogleg right par 5 that goes down and back up the hill, and you have to hit iron off the tee. That hole is the worst.
That is a bad hole.
The fact that you can hit 2 iron and then you are off a down slope and you have to like 4 iron or go for it with a 3-wood or whatever. That's a horrible hole.
Yeah, it's maddening, that hole.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Applecross is another one that I don't even want to go into there, but
we've litigated that.
That's another one that has 5 or 6 candidates as well.
Sure,
you could just
Bluebell.
Yeah, Bluebell the whole course.
There are candidates all over
3,
the place.
4. Yeah. You got anything, Cole? You've played enough golf up here to give us something, right?
You're talking about Old York, and I was thinking of is 5 the par 3 with the fucked up green? Sorry, I shouldn't curse. That was unnecessary, but it's a bad green.
Yeah, that is the that's the course they grew over though, Chesterfield.
Yeah, it's no longer with us.
Oh, it's dead like forever.
Yeah, it's like an Amazon warehouse or something now, supposedly.
With good reason.
Holy
Yeah, isn't that a shame? Yeah.
Yeah, it is a shame. I mean, nobody's sad about that fifth hole, but
You hate to see a course turn. Yeah, you hate to see any course, no matter what it is. You hate to see it turn into a, go to the Amazon conglomerate over there. Yeah.
well, that's not true. You actually have said if you had like unlimited fuck you money, you would buy up a certain amount of courses. just grow them over, blow them up, dynamite.
I wouldn't sell them
Oh,
to
man.
Amazon though. I would turn them into parks or something. Give them back to the community.
All right, moving on. We got next up is clutchest finish. Thank God we're shining a bright light here on something good for once. What was the most
positive.
clutch moment?
We're going positive with clutch's finish. Bo, in my head, that there are really two that stand alone here. Logan Pacheski and the Patterson Cup making like a skillion birdies on the last like 10 holes to win that thing in a playoff in a total rainstorm, by the way. And then the Mike Brown Mid-Am. What did he birdie his last 5?
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 or whatever it was. It was Iceman stuff to beat Troy Benucci in the New Jersey Mid-Am. Those are my two candidates. I'll probably lean Pacheski just because the stroke play event's a lot harder to take it deep like that than match play. But
I'll argue Mike Brown just because Pacheski put himself in that hole. I mean, it was commendable that he dug himself out of it.
he did hop on the express there on that front nine and then flip the script.
Yeah, which was impressive. But the fact that Brown just played clutch the whole day and then was already, a couple under on his ball and then finishes 4 out of 5, then it's like, I think, and I think I would give him the lean just because of the fact that he would, all day was just solid and steady there.
And that's a 36-hole final?
I think that's only 18.
Oh, is it really 18?
Weird, yeah.
That is weird.
It's a weird one. Yeah.
Okay.
Old guys, they don't want to stick us out in 36.
Yeah. Well, it's walking only, right?
It is, yeah.
All right, that's brutal. All right, I think that's good. Good for some clutch finishes.
Okay, fill me in on where we're going with this one. Biggest ejection.
Okay, so biggest ejection. We like to use the term ejection as just a total blow up from being in the mix to then removing themselves from competition. So this award is
Like the cartoony eject button that sends you out of the
right. Yeah. Exactly. You hit the eject button.
You're out.
Yeah. Right. You're in the escape pod. So yeah, this took a little bit of. We were scrubbing over through some qualifier data. I was looking for a lot of big splits in whether it's an 18-hole event like a qualifier, the biggest differential in your front nine and back nine, or the biggest split between 2 18s in a 36-hole event. So if you played well in the first round, you went high in the second round, you hit the eject button. So that's the spirit of this award. I would say as far as, and do we want to do names for this, or do we just want to describe?
Yeah, do names.
Okay.
Yeah, because at the same time, it's almost we're calling out how well they played as well.
Right.
Like it's not just sitting here saying they put themselves in positions that we would never put ourselves in.
Yeah, not even close.
Right.
All right. So we have first off one of the nominees is Zach Amel. God, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
I think it's Amoli.
Amoli.
I think so.
Patterson Cup qualifier, French Creek. Great day at French Creek. Went out in 33. Okay. 3 under, pretty good playing. Well inside the number at that point. And then fires 44 on the back. Shoot a 77 and miss out by a couple shots. That's tough. To go out in 30, 11 shot differential between the front and the back to miss that Patterson Cup.
Yeah, that is pretty big. That's because to shoot 3 under out there, you're obviously playing so well. You kind of just wonder what happened on that back nine, because it's not that hard of a golf course to just kind of keep it, when you're 3 deep, to just kind of keep it in front of you and
Right.
shoot if you're playing well, which he was, shoot your whatever 3 or 4 over worst case and just get it in the house.
Yeah. Next I have actually played with this guy, Brock Kovac, Berkshire guy, product of George Mason University, played some golf down there. USM qualifier, our favorite Union League at Torresdale, shoots 65 in the opening round at Torresdale in the USM qualifier. That's pretty outrageous.
It is outrageous.
Given pins and just how much that course is just a dump site. So go out and shoot 65, and then came home in 77 in that second 18 in the afternoon there. You probably can only imagine he just probably had like 40 putts or something. It just was on the wrong side of the hole all day.
Yeah.
Second 18, right?
Because you can get on trains out there where you just can't. You can't get up and down.
Yeah.
You can't, if you miss it in the wrong side, you can't even two-putt in some spots. You can hit high and just not even have a chance to two-putting. I had one on the third hole there where I was 20 feet pin high and couldn't two-putt without making like a 12-footer coming back up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think most of the par threes there, there are spots where you can hit the ball pin high 20 feet and have no chance to make par.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And I'm sure that's what happened to him. Obviously, he's hitting the ball.
And they're not huge greens.
No.
This isn't like Union League down the shore,
right, where
you have these greens that are 30 yards wide and 20 yards deep, and you have all these different shelving. These are like old school,
right?
Quote unquote Donald Ross greens. I don't know how much Don really.
Yeah,
if Don was shaping those things or what, but.
Right. But still, so shooting 77. I mean, it's pretty explainable out there, So that's another nominee. And then the final nominee, another USM qualifier out at beautiful Laurel Creek Country Club, close to where we live, Jack Tarzay. Jack Tarzay goes out in 63 in that first round. What is that? It's a 71, 8 under par.
That might be the round of the year.
I mean,
I don't find Laurel that easy.
No, I mean, back in 1996 or whatever, they had that like web.com tour event there. Steve Flesh shot 64. That was the course record the longest time, right? And this guy goes out in the USM qualifier from all the way back in the middle of July when it's just soaked out there and shoots 63. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, total swamp out there. It's and then follows up with a 75. And
he did make 7 on that first hole, the second 18. Weird 7.
They have that new back tee there. It makes it a little more explainable, but still not. When you're playing that well,
right,
you don't think a guy has a quacker in his game. He's going to hit on 30 yards left, right? That doesn't seem in the cards.
No, I know. It's very Moses down by the reeds down there on that first hole. So,
really quick Brock Kovac story. I have to say this. So, I'm caddying for my brother in the Hussey. This is 15 years ago or something, right? He's playing with Brock Kovac. Brock's playing really bad, right? We're on the 12th hole there. We're on the green. He's hockeying down somewhere near that stream on the right, or to the right there. He hits one up at the flag, close enough to the flag, but it was like 15 feet. My brother, or who he was playing with, I forget who it was, just takes it and puts it in the hole. Like as a joke. They felt bad for him. And we come out and we go, it's in the hole. We do this, it's in, we point the finger up.
It's for like 5 though, right?
No, it's for Eagle.
Oh, it's for Eagle.
They were like 6 over or something at the the time. Yeah, it was as a joke. I mean, they were kids. They were kids. They're like 15 years old,
it's
right?
One of the best events for the
Yeah. So like it's in the hole, right? Brock comes up, he's freaking out. Let's go, whatever. He calls his dad on the course. Dad, you won't believe it. I just holed out for Eagle.
Want to drive the whole par 4. That's great.
To this day, he thinks he made Eagle in that hole.
Really?
He didn't. He would have made par best. Maybe he would have three-putted it. I don't know. It's like 15 feet above the hole. Not the only time that we did that too, but really bad stuff.
You guys are absolute menaces in the day.
Man. It would never affect the field. Only the guys who were like 10 over and you felt bad for.
Sure, yeah. So I think, who do we want to give the award to? Patterson Cup guy, Zach, or either of the USM guys.
That's a really tough one because they're all just, they're all explainable in a way. I think the Patterson Cup one's the least explainable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the 65-77 at Torresdale makes total sense to me.
Oh, yeah, easily.
The 75 at Laurel, like he made one bad swing, he made triple, didn't really make any birdies, makes sense.
Right.
The 33-44, that's tough. I think I'd have to give it to Zachary.
Yeah, I think so. Bordering on a choke.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hopping on that express in the back nine. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to throw in an award of my own here. The Most Improved Player Award. Is it possible that this award could go to Bo this year?
I don't know. I think for the whole association, that's a stretch without any data. We might have to have Ben do a little digging there. The caveman analytics say that.
I think it's possible. You had a really good year for you, and I don't know if year over year anyone had as improved a year, but yeah, we can crunch some numbers on it. Does anyone else come to mind?
The scoring average is up, so it's really hard to give somebody an improved. The closes were maybe from a closing perspective, sure, but the scoring average being up, it's hard to hand that award to somebody whose year-over-year average is actually ballooning.
Really?
Sure, and I think it's an interesting conversation to have because you obviously played a bunch of golf this year, a lot of tournaments. I would almost equate you to a volume shooter, right? It's almost like you're an Andrew Wiggins type where Andrew Wiggins, you look up at the scoreboard, holy shit, he's got 30 points, and then you look down at the box score and he's like, he took 40 shots? Like, oh my God. Like, how bad is this guy, right? But he's got 30 and 10, right? Because he was running around there the whole game just chucking up shots, right? So it might have been a product of that.
I think so. But I think that's the case for anybody, though.
Yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah.
I think that's
outside of the truly exceptional golfers.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to it's about when you time up having your game. Do you have the ability to close the deal that day or at least finish well that day? Because sometimes people have their game and they just, for whatever reason, mentally can't, whatever, right? So I think that's what it comes down to. And if you can do that, then if you play 100 times and you have 4 or 5 times where you somehow match up your flip, which I did a few times this year, then yeah, sometimes it can work out. But I'm sure if we dug deep into the analytics, we would find somebody who was much farther improved than me. But I appreciate the mention there, Cole. And I think Cole Cole's seen me when I was just so bad. When I was in college, Cole, how bad was I?
And I was in the same boat. But yeah, we were really going through it. It felt like we were in the trenches of war. It was really bad.
Yeah, they called me sniper. That was... or as Jay would say, sniper.
It was really awful. I would get those hungover clunks, just like getting drunk every night, just coming out, just not really seeing the ball right and just laying the sod over it over and over. That's just, those days.
You had some really bad contact. I would always take good contact. It was just the direction was just, I couldn't hit it straight. You were the opposite. You would just kind of just flub it around.
Yeah, I could hit it everywhere with the center too. Like one day I could get the shanks and the next day I could get the toe clunks.
Yeah, that club face was really moving.
I'll throw a name out here.
Yeah.
And feel free to disagree, but Andy Butler.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That seems like a more worthy candidate.
Obviously, Andy, this is not to say Andy was not already a great player, but it seems like he's really cashed in this year on some things. Obviously, the mid-am performance, he finished third in the Silver Cross. I've got it up here, 71, 68, 73, 70, 2 under aggregate for the 4 rounds in the Silver Cross. That's bitching.
The 64 at Whitford.
Yeah, that's
a very respectable showing in the U.S. Mid-Am. The event itself, missed match, played by a couple shots. Was in contention the whole time. Yeah, it seems like he's just, if he could take that same improvement in the next year, he could be the guy around here.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say if he makes the same leap, I think he's a favorite to win one of the gap majors. Right.
No, I agree. He's right. He's really knocking at the door.
He would almost be the chalk for me at the mid-am.
Right.
Right. He would almost be the chalk.
Yeah. No, I can't argue that.
I was trying to support the home team, but yeah, it seems like a worthy candidate.
It was a good talking point. I like it.
All right. Well, on to the next talking point. We have got, well, we should save that one, but we can move on to largest heater of the year. Who got hot and stayed hot and was the most hot during that stretch?
And you actually brought this one to my attention. I was obviously kind of following the Med-Am at Friars, not as closely as you were, but
We'll step out of the association for this one. Because
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything within the association where somebody was just completely just rattling, right? From that to say, like, to call it a legitimate heater.
right, just hit the defrost in the microwave. Just
Well, actually, we're kind of forgetting about the hometown kid
right.
at Huntington, because he did have a stretch where it was getting really scary out
Sure.
there. So within the association, you give him the nod. I think he did something similar to what we're going to say, what happened at the Med-Am. But Christian Cavalieri at the Med-Am shot 6 under in qualifying, and then in match play, he went 4 under, 7 under, 6 under. And I think the 7 under, he closed the guy out in like 13 holes or 12 holes, maybe even.
Yeah, it was early showers.
And then the 6 under, he closed the guy out in like 13 holes. So like for a stretch of, say, like 40 holes, he's like 17 under. Like just really just mind-boggling stuff. And then I like I said, I think to a lesser extent, that's what Itzwan did at Huntington. And
Right.
he might have been closer to 4 or 5 under, a couple 3 under. But like, you know, obviously really great playing. But
Cavalier, I mean, it's Fryer said it's the Med-Am, and he still didn't even win the
I
thing.
know.
I mean, is there any justice that you
Yeah.
can't even scoop that?
If you really want to feel hopeless, just look at something like that. Just like, hey, you ain't winning any majors in your life. Forget about it.
All right. We got, this is a fun one. Largest demolition.
Yeah, so this is an award given to some of the largest margins of victory in Gap, in the Med-Am, in various match play events. 2 come to mind for me. William O'Neill in the round of 16 in the Met-Am, 8 and 6. And then we have also in the Philly-Am final, Michael Crowley, 7 and 6 over Pat Estwan. I mean, to 8 and 6 a guy in the Met-Am, that's crazy.
William O'Neill won.
No, he did not.
Who beat him?
No. He won in that match. 8
That's what I'm saying. He's the one who
Yeah,
won. You know who
he's-
he beat or no?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, no, 8 and 6 is that's about as bad as it gets in a really competitive tournament. Obviously, in the club championship this year, you absolutely flattened one of the folks at our club. What was it?
It was 9 and 7.
9 and 7.
Yeah.
Right, but there's a disparity in skill there that's you're not going to see in a real event.
Yeah,
right?
that's a sleepy Wednesday night event. You know.
Yeah, that's
Not a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah, that's it's like Penn
Sure.
State Abington against Penn State, right?
Yeah.
First basketball game of the year.
Yeah, we don't
25
count
points.
those.
Yeah, it's 8 and 6 is about as bad as it gets. You can scour around, they're not going to find much better than that.
No.
Because the 7 and 6 is in 36 holes, so
Right.
you got to obviously factor that in. But nonetheless, demoralizing losses.
Yeah, I'll tip the hat here to Willie O'Neill.
Willie O'Neill. All right. Shining a bright light. Once again, what was the best hole in Gap Majors this year?
We said that the venues, it wasn't the most prolific slate of venues. I'd have to go with 18 in Huntington Valley, although I don't think it's as much of a runaway as it would be if it was like, the 17th at Marion or something, right? There's just not any holes, I thought, in the venues we had this year in Old Dirk Road, Huntington, Lookaway, and Lanner that really caught my eye when going through it in my head.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think it would be foolish to go outside of Huntington for a best hole. 18's tough to really beat. You know, I would say for me personally, a close second is probably 15 at Huntington.
Such a fun hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say
More fun than championship, obviously. 18's championship.
right.
And then, I agree. I think the hole back 9 is pretty good.
Yeah,
I think 11's good. I think 12's good. I like 14. Yeah, no, there's a lot to like there. outside of transitioning to our next category, the worst hole in Gap majors also belongs to Huntington Valley.
Yeah.
Because even though Lookaway and them weren't the most prolific venues, I don't think they really have any horrible holes. Like Lookaway is like pretty solid. Like there's nothing out there that's real egregious. And then Lanark, same thing. I think it's pretty steady out there.
Yep, I agree.
There's nothing that's really that worthy of criticism. But 16 in Huntington, that hole is really,
oh man,
especially considering I think it really sticks out because of how good the other holes are around it too. Like
right.
you're really in this rhythm of playing good golf, and then you show up to that 16th hole and you feel like you've been transported to another course for 20 minutes or so, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing great about it. You got the fairway just sloping dead away from you, right, left to right. The only way you can hit and hold the fairway is with a total snap hook that kind of lands softly and kind of snaggles down there on the right side. And then you have a green that's pitched left to right, and really nothing about it. I mean, the redeeming quality was in the Gap M match play round. They put the tee up to like 295.
Okay, that's fun.
That was somewhat interesting, right? Right, kind of giving some shot options up there. You kind of can see the fairway a little more.
Yeah, it's better, but it's still just it's
still not good.
Yeah,
no, yeah, it's almost an admission that the hole's bad that the Gap would put the tee up on a hole like that.
Right.
So I think that's an easy one for us.
All right, I like it. Craziest thing you saw on a golf course this season. This is great because there's, I'm sure, a lot of contenders here.
Yeah, I'll start this off. I had planned a Publix event at McCall Field Club, right? Some real D-League stuff, right?
Yeah, this is single A.
Yeah.
Single A ball, Iron Pigs.
Yeah, the Iron Pigs on the road in Des Moines, Iowa or something.
Yeah, short season, single A.
So there was a guy playing in this who was playing barefoot at McCall, which was like, swampy, sweaty August day, right? And he had his big toenail painted with a golf hole, like a green toenail with like a hole on it. I guess to like visualize as he was putting, like, the ball going in the hole.
So he was barefoot the entire round.
So he played behind us. And from what I was told, he was barefoot the entire round. Yes, like he just showed up barefoot and he played barefoot.
And he was
on a real grimy course.
He was.
This isn't like, he played.
God.
Yeah, he played, and he had his toenail painted, like his single toenail, like on his right foot or whatever.
Is McCall is it public?
It's private, I think.
And they let him out there. Come on. I don't think he makes it by the course is like
the course is like 5,200 yards. I mean, it's not like it's private, quote unquote, but it's might as well just be like it's like a glorified chip and putt, right? Like it's not, but it only in a Publix event. I love the Publix stuff. And I love it for this kind of stuff, right? But yeah, I don't think that guy shows up in the Gap Mid-Am qualifier this April with those bear dogs.
Yeah, probably not. That's pretty egregious.
What do you got to have something?
I mean, most ridiculous. I honestly have nothing at the moment. I'm just totally drawing a blank.
Do you have anything, Cole?
I actually, in Phoenix, so it was early this year. It was still winter, but it counts as 2023 season. I played around random public course in Kanto with this guy who, on the 18th hole, he shanked it 3 times in a row on the same hole. The first 2 times into his own cart, and it came back into the fairway. And then the third time he missed the cart, but it hit a tree out to his right and shot back into the fairway a third time.
So three shanks in a row, and he's playing from the short grass, the whole hole.
Correct.
That could be a record.
That honestly,
that's like lightning striking.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, he could have been strategically setting up the cart. I'm not sure. There's could have been.
Yeah, the guy accrued 4 shots and penalties too on top of that, huh?
I suppose. I mean, he probably just said, "Write me down for 6" and moved on, but.
Yeah, I think that's. I think this is a testament to Ben not having any crazy stories, I think the takeaway from this is you got to sign up for more public stuff this year.
Yeah. I need to get into the to the ring a little bit more.
Yeah.
The pub links and
you can't just show up to like a US4 ball. I mean, what are you going to see out there?
Nothing. Just my shitty play. That's all you're going to see out there.
Yeah, you just trying to just scrounge up a birdie somehow.
All right, fellas, it's been great being on with you guys. I really have to run. I got some music stuff to do this evening here in Phoenix. I'm running a little late as it stands, but I will leave it to you to finish this up. It's been a blast, and hopefully we'll get on here again soon.
Yeah. Good luck with that, man.
Thanks, dude.
Good talking to you.
All right. Thanks. See you guys.
Later.
All right, we're just going to pick right up here without Cole with the best 9 of the year. I didn't dig too deep into this one, but I got, just because I was actually in the tournament, I could really relate to how good of a 9 this was. Matt Gaffney shot 5 under on the front 9 at Woodcrest that day.
Wow.
When the scoring average was above 80, I believe.
Yeah, wasn't that one of those like PCC +3 days out there?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's outrageous.
And it just felt like one of those days just to make kind of any birdies just felt so hard. You know, those days where you feel like you have to hit 2 really good shots and make a putt when you have that mentality going.
Yeah.
And you're like, how do you make birdies? Like, this just seems just unattainable. Yeah, 5 under on the front 9 at Woodcrest, and then goes on to shoot 42 on the back. Was borderline, could have been a choke candidate if he shot like 45.
Sure.
Like a 30-45. Like that's crazy. 42 is still pretty stumbly, but
30's low.
30's really, really good.
Especially out there.
I can't think of another 9-hole that was that good. I think even Butler at Whitford didn't do better than 4 under on a 9, right?
Yeah.
And obviously Whitford was tamer that day. I mean, Woodcrest was whipping, the rough was up, and then same thing with Shattuck. Nothing. I think that comes close from a 9-hole perspective to that 5 under at Woodcrest. Because like you're saying, if you factor in the PCC adjustment and you split that in half, he's a dynamic 6.5 under par.
Yeah, that's such good play. I mean, you only have 9 holes.
Yeah, you can't do any better, really. Do you have anything that came to mind?
The only thing that really came to mind was Logan Paszewski's back 9, I guess, last 10 holes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Last 10 holes, he played in 5 under to win the Patterson Cup.
Yeah, and
that was pretty good.
And it was rainy.
Yeah.
I guess if you take the situation out of play, I still think from you tee it up, you give a +5 handicap, 10 tries at 9 holes at Woodcrest and 9 holes at Lanark, right, under the same conditions.
Yeah.
Woodcrest is going to play harder, at least a shot harder on a 9, maybe even closer to 2 shots. So that's where I would lean with that. But if you're doing situationally, then, obviously you can't argue with Paszewski.
Yeah. It's just so hard to make birdies out at Woodcrest.
It's so
many
hard.
Goofy holes. And
that's a course, if I was a member there and I went in one of my ruts, I feel like I could just go like a week without making a birdie. Like you can kind of narrow it down to like a couple putts that you even have a chance on. If you don't make those, it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Because the par 5s, I mean, the 18th hole was like, it's like a par 6. Like what the day we played it was over 6. It was playing like 6.1.
Was it dead back into the fan?
Dead back into the fan, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And even that second hole, that thing's a bowling alley. Like
and the rough's thick too. So if you can't hit the fairway there, you're chopping out. And it's all like that second shot on the 2 is a forced carry. Like you got to land it. You can't really run it on. There's that narrow opening on the right.
It's not like really a birdie hole. Like it's not saying it's a hard golf hole, but I wouldn't be like walk off there like, man, I really let one get away with a par.
Right.
Same thing with that 4th hole, that goofy 4th hole.
Yeah, you could spin it off the green and rolls down 40 yards, whatever.
Not an easy hole. It's not. I don't find it as an easy golf hole.
No, again, narrow run-ups too with a par 5. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very.
Just not really any holes on that course that I would say are birdie holes. I don't think there's one hole that you would really be mad walking off with a par at.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like you're giving shots back.
Yeah.
Best round of the year. Andy Butler, we talked about the 64 at Whitford. I got Braden Shattuck, the 66 final round at the Open.
Yeah.
And then also a little under the radar 18, Ben Cooley posted an 8 under 64 at the Public Championship last month.
Was that a turtle?
A turtle.
Turtle.
Yeah. At the
Okay.
turtle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost think once again, if you take the situation out of play, I almost think the 8 under at Turtle Creek's the most impressive because the greens out there are slow. And they're not, they're not horrible, don't get me wrong, but like, it's not a course Whitford has good greens.
Yeah.
Whitford, you could see, I can go out there, you're thinking, I can run the tables out here. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that feel at Turtle at all. Like, you're either got to be hitting it close, like, you're not going to be making many 20-footers out there.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's pretty easy here that the least impressive was the Shattuck 66.
Yeah, because there was 3 other 66s that day.
Right. It was a dartboard that whole week. Not to take anything away from that round of the
It was more because of the final round and finishing birdie and that's why I threw it in there. But
I like Andy Butler 64 at Whitford.
Yeah, no,
he torched it. Just totally took the top off.
Yeah, you can't argue with that one.
And what was he? 3 clear as a medalist? 4 clear or something?
In the USGA qualifier.
He lifted and separated.
Yeah, if that was a 36-hole qualifier and you times it by 2, he's clearing the field by 6 or 7 shots.
Yeah. Very impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty staggering. Yeah, I would agree with that too. I had to throw the Ben Cooley one in there too because I thought that was a really just crazy good round. Because even if they had not that the field was, horrible, but it's Public's field. There's some good players in there, but it's not, the depth isn't even close to where a gap tournament would be. But even if they had a really strong gap field out there, I still like to think he would have won by 3 shots that day.
Maybe, 8 under is 8 under.
Maybe 2 at the worst. Yeah. So, what do you think the best storyline of the year is? I have it between Shattuck closing off the Philly Open this year after just squirting one, from what the stories say, a yard out of bounds last year at the Cricket Club to lose by 1.
Oof.
And then to come back this year, finish birdie, close it off, or Itzwan making the finals at Huntington at his home course, and really his first deep run or major success in a gap event.
Yeah, both good candidates, I think. Yeah, Pat played his ass off in the Gap Am. He really played some amazing golf that week. And then you had Shattuck, who, very, very classic golf redemption story at the Open. I've got to think the guy hoisting the hardware was the better story, Shattuck, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I guess I'd argue that if you were to write a movie, though, you probably would write it, or write a book, you'd write it on Itzwan's story.
Right, yeah, very Francis We Met sort of vibe there.
It's almost like Goody Lost, because it almost makes the story like even better.
Right, it had some character.
Yeah, it has that, right. It's not the fairy tale, and then it's it's a little bit more of the... life's tough. Enjoy it while it's hot. But yeah, no, those were, and it's weird because this year, like we said, that there's wasn't too many crazy storylines, not a crazy amount of choking. It was just like a pretty just routine, just steady. I don't know, like there wasn't a lot off script, I feel like, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like we've touched on the venues, the champions. Pretty middle of the road, I'd say.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from the champions.
So leading into our last award, we will wrap up with the player of the year. And I think it's probably pretty obvious. I think it's probably a better discussion to talk about who would be the honorable mention. But from a player of the year perspective, you got to go with Troy. he was officially the Jersey and Gap Player of the Year, which I don't have any history on that. I'd have to look it up, but I don't think that's been done probably too many times. And even though he didn't have any major wins, just if you look at the resume in totality, it's pretty damn impressive. Like I said, both Player of the Year honors. He won the Silver Cross in Gap, T4 Patterson Cup, medalist in the Philly Am. Into a Jersey side, he was T3 in the Jersey Open, 36-hole overnight leader there. Second in the Jersey Mid-Am, finalist as a runner-up to Michael Brown. T6 in the NJM, qualified for the U.S. 4-ball and the U.S. Mid-Am. So really a lot to like there. Yeah, I know there was some flash in the pan stuff this year where guys getting their first win and things of that nature. But if you look at it, like you said, in a totality perspective, I think you got to tip your hat to Troy.
Yeah, no notes there.
Yeah.
Full agreement.
Honorable mention, I got to throw a shout out to Dave Mecca. So he won the Gap Mid-Am this year, and he doesn't have the luxury of playing in as much tournaments as some of these other guys, right? Working man, has a family. But his win percentage this year was high. So he won the Gap Mid-Am. He won that Coal Scuttle they have up there, right? That's a big event up in the Anthracite Association. He also won their stroke play championship up there, the one they had at Scranton.
Oh, nice.
He qualified for the U.S. 4-ball last month as well. Today, as we're recording this, he supposedly shot the course record at Saucon Valley, the Grace course.
Did he really?
7 under. He chopped up that Brian Bergstall. And Brian's, top 3 player in the, top 3 pro in that section. He played in U.S. Opens and whatever. And Dave took him out back today. So yeah, honorable. I got it. You got to give that a shot. That's a fantastic season. Is there anyone else? Like you said, Andy Butler, kind of like almost like a poor man's Troy in the sense of like no
always
wins,
in the mix.
But always in the mix. Now we're kind of in that void of like the big name guys are kind of they're at different phases in their lives, right? Like, even Mike Brown this year was battling back issues. He's getting a little older now. Osberg's got a bunch of kids and he's not playing as much. McDermott's basically removed himself from the scene. So it's kind of like in a transitionary phase where we're kind of waiting for like that next wave of dominant Gap golfers.
Yeah. It seems like you can kind of always count on like maybe one or two few college kids that got hot and pick one off, right? But yeah, we're kind of waiting for the next Michael McDermott or Michael Brown to rear their head, and put their hat in the mix. Yeah. It doesn't seem like there's any like obvious candidates outside of Troy and like a couple other guys. Yeah. Because it's that combination of like being that good and having the time to play and practice and all this stuff. And there's just not that many guys. I feel like there's so many good players. Like even if you look at that whole like cricket club contingent, right? They're all like really good, but like none of them just have the time and they're older now. And like, they don't really like they show up and they can still compete on the right day, but they're not going to like be able to run the tables in anything. Those guys, right? Because they're just they're not putting the volume isn't there anymore. Yeah. Right. So there's just not that many guys I feel like that have that combination. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but that's all we have, or at least that's all I have. Do you have anything else? Or no, I'm all good. We're looking forward to next year, getting through the winter months as quickly as possible here as we get into it. I know that's really depressing, but yeah, I don't even like thinking about it, man. It really, we have some long months ahead, but hopefully we'll get some golf trips in there and make the best of it. Yeah. As always, thanks for tuning in. I think we are going to be releasing another episode shortly too. And then I think the plan is this off season to get some good interviews going and hopefully get some entertainment out there for these
these cold winter months we have ahead.
Yeah, looking forward to it.